my life is awesome, because they want to impress other people. Good morning, mushrooms, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers, sisters, mothers, misters, and to all my cousins out there around the world. It's time to plug in and get this news train chugging. Apparently, Michelle Obama stole the show. If you steal the show, it means that everybody else was just a little side note compared to you. You were the main act, you were the main gig. Maybe you weren't billed as number one on the program. However, your performance upstaged everybody else. You outperformed everybody else, you outdid everybody else, and therefore you became the most relevant person performing or speaking, whatever you want to call it, on the stage. As you know, Michelle Obama is the former First Lady of the United States. Now, we could say ex, however, that's just a little bit too informal for the situation. When we say former, it's the same thing as ex. So the former First Lady's speech was not just a powerful rebuke of Trump, and if we're rebuking somebody, to rebuke, a rebuke, that is a very harsh criticism of them for their actions. I guess kind of punish them in a way. Much like condemnation, it's often done on moral grounds, but doesn't have to be. Your conscience. The conscience is the little voice inside your head that tells you what is right and what is wrong. As you often see in films and in cartoons, you'll get the main character with a little angel and a little demon up on their shoulders, giving them advice on what to say and what to do. And that is your conscience. We can do things with a clear conscience, meaning that we feel fine and comfortable with what we have said and or done, or we can do it with the guilty conscience. So she's appealing to the conscience, asking people for them to really think about things, to weigh the good versus the evil, the pluses versus the minuses, the costs versus the benefits, or however you want to frame this argument that goes on inside one's head and one's conscience. 6 key takeaways from the first night. And so, as always, lots of words, lots of talking, lots of reading. If you don't want to pay attention to everything, then you can read the summaries. And there are apparently, according to the authors, 6 main points for you to put in your pocket and take away with you. Those are the things that you need to remember. The main points, basically the summary. If you were to boil it down, to condense it, to distill it into just a few key points, those are the takeaways. Hopefully that's something that you take away from this broadcast. On to Paris. Paris, the City of Lights, hasn't been in the news for a while, at least on the program. But yes, in Paris, the COVID-19 cases have jumped 6-fold. Whoa, lost my hand there. 6-fold since the beginning of the month. That means they have multiplied by 6 times. It's 6 times higher than it had been prior to the beginning of the month. It's just a nicer way, in a way, of saying 6 times more. There's a massive water park party as the concerns about the virus recede. And this is just another play on words by the authors here, because with the tides go in, and then the tides or the waters recede. They pull back, they diminish, they become less and less and less. And so as the concerns are receding and pulling back, much like the waters, and that's the theme of the article, a water park. And so, yeah, there's the authors having fun. They're stranded with no recourse, no hope of departure, of leaving, no options remain. They are stranded abroad and they can't get home. Well, yeah, much like many of us who live in foreign countries, yeah, it's kind of difficult and sketchy, iffy, shady proposition to try and go visit your family. Another big blow to the struggling UK economy. The economy is trying very hard, but not doing very well. It's failing. And another big blow. And we're not talking about the wind. We're talking about a blow. Another use of the word. A blow, a hit, a shot. Different words for things that another thing that causes damage. We got the Brexit. We got the COVID. We got the this. We got the that. Now, I don't know, maybe they've gone underwater. This is apparently a company, and I'm pleading ignorance here. Normally, I am up to date with the big unicorns and the emerging startups and so on, but I don't know who Robinhood is. But Robinhood and the stock market are on upswing. Just a nice little abbreviation by the news there, skipping out on words. On the upswing, much like kids when they're on a swing, back and forth, because the markets go back and forth, up and down. But right at the moment, they're on an upswing right now, and things are looking good for Robinhood and the stock markets. That's about that. Moving on. A lethal blow to Huawei. Look at that blow again. Another damaging hit, a strike, a shot, something that damages their current situation. In this case, it's a lethal blow, and that means it's deadly, it's fatal, or at least it could be. We'll see. But as you know, the headlines tend to exaggerate a little bit. But one country will put sanctions on another, which are limitations on trade or contact or other sort of things, so as to try and persuade or coerce or force them to do whatever it is that you want, maybe by crippling their economy. All right, moving on. NBA and politics. LeBron James speaks out against voter suppression. Now, voter suppression, to suppress something. If you break it down, the sup prefix means from above, and press down on something. If you're pushing down on something that's trying to come up, you're trying to stop it from achieving what it wants, and that is voting. Speaking out against it. It's pretty much clear, I do believe, and we've had it on the show many times before. We've got charges on the show every day, and we've got another charge here, and there might be another one down below if my memory serves me correctly. But to be charged with espionage, ooh, he's a spy or she's a spy. To be charged with a crime. Yeah, somebody has made accusations, has actually filed charges against them, and they are being charged with the crime. Yeah, just like this man who has been charged in connection with the death of a scientist killed during her morning run. I don't know who was running, the man or the scientist. Well, it's her morning run, so probably the scientist, I guess. Wolf Blitzer, the CNN anchor, and actually kind of looks like an old wolf, but he presses Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of Donald Trump. Yes, he was pushing him. No, really, 1,000 deaths a day? Is that good? Is that good? What do you think? No, really? Do you count that as a success? No. Answer the question. No, answer. He was straight up confronting him, trying to squeeze an answer out of him by pushing or pressing him. And so we can put pressure on people to answer those questions. As you know, in the show, we're all over the place. Just take them as the headlines line them up. Amsterdam has been collapsing for years. I did not know that. Maybe they're going to sink into the water like Venice. No, I think it's a bit more figurative. It might be economic collapse, or the infrastructure is collapsing, or they just become over-dependent upon tourism. And so now, in the absence of tourism, the economy is crumbling, collapsing, falling apart. Very visual vocabulary, but I don't think they mean literally collapsing, falling apart inwards like a building being demolished. But so yeah, now it's paying the price because it allowed itself to become over-dependent on tourism or whatever it was. But to pay the price for... Sorry. It's not the number 4, but to pay the price for having done something. Yeah? Do the crime, do the time. I will inadvertently probably pay the price for having done so because, my friends and my fans will let me know. You didn't answer my question. We got precautions here. I should have highlighted it here, but we've got taking. Yeah? See the precautions a Scottish school is taking as children return to class. It's just the common collocation to take precautions. Remember, pre meaning before, caution, be careful. And so to be taking precautions, you're putting the necessary steps in place and making sure, all right, well, if this happens, we know what we're going to do in this case, and we know what we're going to do in this case, and we're going to make everybody wear masks. Yeah, right? Well, in Scotland, they might listen. Who knows? Freedom! Moving on. On to South Korea. This K-pop label that created BTS is going public. it doesn't mean that they're coming out and saying, hi, we're here. It means that they're going to have an IPO, an initial public offering on the stock market. And so you'll be able to buy stock in that company. So that's a big thing. That's like every startup, well, not every startup, many of them hope to be acquired by another company, say Google, Facebook, Microsoft, or to then go public and become listed and publicly traded on a stock market. And so that's what they mean. They're going to have an IPO, initial public offering. Let's roll on to my neighborhood, Barcelona. And we're not going to euphemize this. We're not going to say that they resigned, they were pushed out, whatever. No, they just fired their manager. Bye-bye, sir. After the Champions League humiliation, they felt ashamed. They complete loss of respect in the world's eyes, because I don't know if you saw that, but they lost 8-2 to Bayern Munich. I mean, Bayern, okay, that's a team, but 8-2, that's not a football score. Come on. That was a humiliation. It was humiliating. They felt humiliated, yeah? And so they were ashamed at the loss of prestige and respect that they suffered as a result of their crushing defeat. Moving on. We had it on the show yesterday, the phrasal verb to show off, as I kind of alluded to and kind of danced around yesterday. Of course, like many phrasal verbs, there are different ways that they can be used, often in a similar vein or a similar way. And so, much like yesterday, to show off major weight loss. She's proud that she's lost a lot of weight because it's a difficult accomplishment. Showcasing it, displaying it to the world because they're proud of it. Other people show off maybe their new car, their new house, their new stuff. They put all their pictures on Facebook and they're like, yo, my life is awesome, because they want to impress other people, often done as a result of their own personal insecurity and so on. Early humans knew how to make comfy, pest-free beds. So says the study. Comfy, just short for comfortable. Ta-da! All right. A pest is an insect, or it could be other sort of things that cause illness or things that annoy you. Just like we use, if somebody is pestering you, that means they are bothering you, they are annoying you, they are, what did I say? Bugging you. Insects, bugs, to pester somebody. A pest is something which annoys you. And to make it pest-free means that there are no more pests. Nothing is bothering you, but there's no bugs in your bed. You don't have bed bugs. Ta-da! Good for them. Citronella? I don't know. And actually, this actually comes from the word from Latin for, well, peste, which was used for the plague, the Black Plague back in the 1300s. Okay, more football news. A heartwarming story, I'm assuming, is driven on. To drive, yes, of course, to drive a car. Yeah, you push the gas with your foot and then you go and you steer the car. But to drive something, when we're driving the car, that means we're propelling it, we're pushing it forward, we're controlling it. Just like you can drive cattle or drive sails. Yeah, it means to push it forward, make it move, control it, and make it go where you want. And so he is driven on, meaning forward, by the sacrifices of his family. And that means his family has made sacrifices for him. They have sacrificed a lot. You know, they probably put their life savings into him going to school or to this or to that. But now this nice collocation with make, to make sacrifices for someone. He's doing this for his family. And so that's great. Cool. Moving on. Why not? Golf news. The US Open. Golf? Tennis? I plead ignorance. Sorry, I'm not a big sports guy. World number 2, Halep pulls out of the US Open. Nobody really wants to go to the US right now. It's a little bit risky, from what I understand. We've had other people in the past for various sporting tournaments opt out, taking the option not to do something, to opt out of, to decide not to participate in that, not to take part in these competitions because, well, you got enough money and you know you can't put a price on your health and then possibly compromising the health of your family, etc. But he's pulling out. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to participate. He has removed himself. He has opted out of the tournament. Ta-da! That's it. And oh, there, that looks nice. Getting down to the nitty gritty and the bits and the pieces at the end here. The Dems are zeroing in on Trump's biggest weaknesses, which means they're targeting them. Yeah, if you're like that as a target, it comes down to this shape, and that is a 0. Much like any sort of target, that ring is a 0. Also, if you're thinking about margin of error, no, we want to hit this right here. We don't have a tolerance of a kilometer or whatever here or there. We need to on 0, on point, exactly his biggest weaknesses, which are pride, arrogance, whatever. Moving on. All right, if Trump loses and won't leave, it could get ugly. What does it mean to get ugly? Well, it could be very chaotic. It could be unruly. It could cause more, increase the bitter divisions within society. Things that are ugly are not nice to look at, not nice to watch, and so yeah, it could be a ugly or unpleasant process. Basically, it could get ugly. Just a phrase. We wouldn't say it could get pretty. Nah, it just works with ugly when things are going wrong. 3 first ladies risked their lives to advance civil rights. To advance mean to move it forward, to push it forward. They were backing civil rights and they risked their lives. And the first ladies, those are wives of the presidents. For anyone else out there, let's take that as an inspiration, and hopefully, well, we don't have to risk our lives, but let's try and help advance civil rights for all as well. For English Otherwise, that was breaking down the news for today. As you know, my name is Mr. James, but if you made it this far, you can call me Cameron. Anybody else out there watching passively, don't be shy, don't hesitate, jump in, chime in, ask questions, make comments, concerns. Sometimes I'm drawing a blank and I can't come up with examples. Feel free and jump in and help me along. Well, doing this pretty much freestyle, sometimes, well, yeah, you end up drawing blanks. That's it for today. Have a beautiful night or a beautiful day. Depends on where you are, but if not sooner, and you never know. See you at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Much love. Peace out. Bye-bye. Stop the stream. Oh no.